Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. So it's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild, all his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off, online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and in today's episode, we are joined by a very special guest, current goalie coach Michael Albanese. Michael is very knowledgeable with the position of goaltending, especially in hockey, and I'm very excited to help everyone and myself learn the position even more. So this has been a long process, but we're finally getting into it. So can't wait to have you on. So welcome to the show, Michael Albanese.
Yeah, thanks for having me, buddy. It's been like you mentioned, it's been a long time coming here. So I'm excited to dive in. Let's get into it.
Yeah, for sure. It's like how have you been? Like things have been busy, like we both said. But like how's everything going now since everything's like settling down a little bit?
Yeah, it's good. Me in the summer, I do landscape contracting. So luckily that's been pretty unaffected by all this pandemic madness because I'm able to be outside and, I'm not in people's houses or anything like that. So it's been good for me. I've been able to maintain, like, I would say, a more normal situation than a lot of other people. So I've been very fortunate that way.
Yeah, that's at least good that you're at least staying somewhat normal and just like everything that's coming out of the pandemic, and like hopefully it's ending soon, which is at least starting to clear out a little bit. So that's at least something that's going right for us. So can't complain there, and just like being able to get out of the house a little bit after being stuck in the house for a while.
Yeah, man. And on ice, Hockey Performance Center, where I primarily teach at with Derek BUJAN down there. They just got the green light to open on Friday, so like 4 days ago. And I know that they're already into lessons. I haven't got back there since because summer's madness for me with landscape contracting. But I can't wait to get back there and shoot some pucks and do some skating. Probably have to get the old blades sharpened and not be. I'm gonna be worried about falling, man. It's been a while since I've been on the ice, so.
Your first step, you're just gonna face plant.
Yeah, that's right.
It's always the nerve-wracking part right there.
Yeah.
So to start things off, can you give our viewers like a little background information on yourself, like when you got into hockey, what inspired you to get into hockey, and then coaching along with what you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, like most Canadian kids, I got into hockey, first grade, however old you are, I don't know, 5 maybe. My older cousins were all into it. I was kind of the youngest one in the family, and that's what brought me to it. And I was, I mean, it's tough to believe, but when I was younger, I was a really chubby kid. So I was first gravitated towards goaltending because I thought that they didn't have to move a whole lot. I still on the ice, but it's not like they're doing a whole lot of moving. But obviously, that's could not be more wrong. And then once I kind of saw that, it was guys like Jim Carrey back in the 90s, Patrick Waugh, obviously, that brought me, further in love with the position. And I bounced around between double A, triple A growing up until I landed in a junior C spot here in Southern Ontario. Back in the day, it was the Niagara District Junior C Hockey League. Nowadays, it's just all amalgamated into the Provincial Junior Hockey League. The year after that, I was playing Junior B. I got cut from Junior B within about 2 months. I was dealing with some real confidence issues because I had an injury in the summer between my 17 and an 18 year that I really couldn't recover from mentally. And my game was in a really good spot before I got injured. And, I'll never blame the injury because injuries happen. It was my approach to the injury. It was how I dealt with it, or didn't deal with it, I should say. I just really couldn't get my confidence back. And then I ended up finishing that year in Junior C. I went back to the same team. And by that time, I was just over it, really. And I was 18. And the next year, I just didn't even play. I went to university with 2 years of eligibility left, and by that time, I just wanted to, play intramural hockey with my buddies at school. So it was a really sharp transition for me, going from being a starter at the junior C level at 17. I mean, you might not have an NHL trajectory at that point, but you can still make a run at it, right? I was still looking at D3. I was looking at OUA or CIS, which is university here in Canada. And then within about 12 months, I was just over it. So, that's it was something that took me a long time to get over. I had to step away from the game, from actually playing, other than, rec hockey. But that's not, once you're playing competitive hockey, rec hockey's, you can't really call that playing hockey. You're just having fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit of a mental battle for me, figuring out, how to digest what happened. And that's one of the main things that I try to do with the guys that I coach, especially at the team level, because I'm a goalie coach for the St. Catharines Falcons now in the Gauge, and it was the goalie coach for the Dundas Blues in the PJ. And being able to help the guys mentally through the game is really what I'm about.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a lot of like learning curves that you had to go through, especially early in your your junior career, when like you had that confidence issue and then you got that injury. Like things like that happen in the game. Like you just gotta learn from those experiences. So like going back to like your younger self, like what would you tell your younger self now? And especially since you went through all this and like you're telling all these guys that you coach now what to do, like what would you do? What would you say to yourself going
Oh
back
man,
a little bit?
that's such a great question. So many things. I mean, I'm a talker. I might go on a few tangents here. You might have
Sounds
to
good. Sounds good to me.
you might have to rein me in here. So what I would, if I had one sentence, I would say, man, like, don't take it so seriously. Like, if you let a bad goal in, it doesn't make you a bad goalie. If you make a big save, it doesn't make you the best goalie in the world. Like, you gotta take things in stride. Like we hear all the time, don't get too high, don't get too low. That's something that, I heard it, but I didn't really appreciate what it meant. And I was a really emotional goalie, like just a roller coaster. And anybody can be a good goalie when they're making saves. Everybody has confidence when they're making saves, but can you find the ability to stick to your game and trust your training and be confident when you're not making saves? Because you got to be able to flip that switch. And if you can't, like, more than anything, that is what knocks guys out of the game at the junior level. Is you let in a couple bad goals, and then next thing you know, you start questioning yourself. And a lot of these guys have been working for 10 years to get where they are, and they let a few bad goals derail them. It's tough to see. And when I was playing, I wish I had a coach that talked to me about the mental side of things, because I was able to learn the game of hockey from a lot of really, really good goalie coaches that had really good pedigree coaching wise and playing wise. But I didn't really have somebody to help me with the mental side of things. So that's what I try to be for my guys now. Is I try to be the coach that I wish I had when I was 18.
Yeah, I think that you brought some like really great points, because like the mental side super important as a goalie. Like I've had games where like one goal, like you give up a soft one, like that you should have had, like you're on the post and then it somehow sneaks in. Like and then that derails you, and you just overthink about it the next few minutes, and then the next thing you know, another shot goes in, a one that you should have had or should not have had. Like, it's just gonna derail you. And just, I've had those games where it's like you say, you just start thinking, and just like you're giving up goals, like, and then you go into the next game, you're like, oh, I gave up like 6 goals in the game before, and then what do you think happens that game? You give up 6 or more goals. And it's just about like finding that stable point where it's like you're just focusing on the next shot and just focusing on making the save however you can. Like, doesn't have to be pretty all the time, but like you just got to keep it simple and just keep it smooth.
Yeah, man. You know what? You made me. You reminded me of a really great point that I had a conversation with one of my goalies, one of the younger guys in my first years. Um, I like to go down in between periods and just kind of check in with what they're doing. You know, how you feeling, what's going on. Not all the time. You know, you got to know your goalie. Sometimes there's a situation where you know that he doesn't need to see you or he doesn't want to see you, so you just let it be. But you know, sometimes you go down and you have a conversation mid period, and I had to tell this one guy. I said, you're thinking yourself out of position here. Practice is thinking time, playing is doing time. You should not be thinking. You practice and you create habits so that when it becomes game time, you don't have to think about your positioning and your stick and your hands and your body. Obviously you're thinking in the sense that you're actively trying to read the play and anticipate things, but you're not thinking about your game. You're not magnifying, like putting your game under a magnifying glass as you're playing. That's for after.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And like some of my best games have come from just pretty much all my best games, just doing, like, just trusting myself.
Oh, if you become unconscious, man. You literally stop thinking, and that's where, you know, that flow state or that zone that everybody talks about. When you're in that zone, you know, I've listened to some of your podcasts here with you had a lot of good goalies on here, and everybody knows what that zone is like if you've played hockey at a competitive level. And the way that I see it is, the way that you know that you're in the zone is if, instead of being like nervous for the next shot, when you're kind of on your heels and you're a little bit hunchy and you're like almost don't want anybody to shoot on you. When you're in the zone, you're like you're up and you're big and you're on your toes and you're almost like inviting them to shoot on you. Like you want pucks because you know like you're just going to be all over it. The puck is a beach ball instead of being like, you know, a grape where every shot it feels like it's just going through you.
Yeah, and it just comes with like the reps you take at practice. Like, just treat it like you would in a game, and then like the good habits creates your habits from there, and just being able to trust yourself and trust your game, and just everything that comes with it. And like, of course, like confidence as well. Like you're making the saves, like you're gonna be super confident. Like, you're gonna be like, anyone can take a shot on me and I'm gonna stop it. Like, you just gotta have that great mindset, and just like that you think that you're gonna stop every puck that comes your way, even though like 9 times out of 10 you don't get a shutout.
Yep. I always say, man, I would rather take a goalie that doesn't have great technique, but is really confident and really believes in himself, versus a goalie that has great technique, really strong kid, but doesn't have confidence. Because 9 out of 10 times, a really confident goalie is going to outplay a non-confident goalie. That's just the rule of the universe. You've got to play with confidence, and confidence comes from preparation. We were kind of touching on it earlier. You know, my main teacher, Derek Bujan from BUJAN Goaltending here in Hamilton, he has a saying that says, "Victory loves preparation," and I love that saying. Obviously, it makes a lot of sense. But I take it one step further and I say confidence loves preparation, because confidence when you're playing doesn't come from the saves that you make in warm up. It doesn't come from the pep talk that your coach gives you before the game. These things are all things that help you find, you know, a rhythm, but that's not, your confidence is not rooted in that. Your confidence is rooted in how you prepare off the ice, how you prepare in practice, how you treat your body, your sleep, your nutrition, all that kind of stuff. So there's so much back end work that comes with confidence. And you know, your confidence can't be so fragile that goals are enough to shake your confidence.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. And like we touched on this a little bit, but like what are, like when you're scouting goalies, like looking over goalies, like what are some of like the most important aspects that you see? Like I know we touched on like that you'd rather take a confident goalie over someone that's like technically technically sound but has no confidence. Like what are some other aspects that you would you would consider keeping a goalie around rather than just sending him off?
I like goalies that want the net. So when I'm looking at like a training camp situation, I want a goalie that the other guys in line are having to like almost kick his ass out of the net, being like, dude, like it's our turn. Like I want that guy that is almost like borderline rude with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that just shows that like he's assertive and that he wants the net and that he knows that he should be there, right? So assertiveness in that way and not being uber passive. Obviously, don't be a jerk about it. Like there's a line there, but that's huge. And the other thing is, I look at how he interacts with the other players on the ice. Is he, when he's not in the net, is he joking around with everybody? Is he having a good time? Is he trying to like trip people and playing pranks, or is he dialed in? I remember I was at the Hamilton Red Wings training camp, and it was getting down to the wire. That's actually where I broke my finger. And the GM pulled me aside after one of the skates, and he said, you know, I like your game, but I don't like how friendly you are. You're out here palling around with you know the guys from the team, maybe the guys from your team last year, and it tells me that you're more worried about having a good time than you are about making the squad. Like you need to show me that you want to make the squad and that you know you're willing to you know almost like shut everybody else out and realize that you're playing hockey right now. Your job is to stop pucks and be the goalie. So that really stuck with me, and that's something that I really look for in guys that I scout. Two other things: I want guys to be boisterous. I want to hear them talking, especially in a scrimmage situation. If it's just radio silence, you know it's really tough for me. It's tough to turn a really really quiet goalie into a talker. So I tell my guys in practice, when you're in a scrimmage situation, I want you to be constantly talking to your defenseman because it's so important. Communication is everything. And how many goals have we all let in because we don't really know what our defenseman's doing, or the forwards back checking? It's just a shit show, and I end up coughing up the puck, and now there's a goal in the back of the net. And then the other one is the last one is, do they go down on every shot automatically? Are they just robotic butterflies every time? Obviously, the game of hockey in goaltending terms is very butterfly dominant right now. It makes sense. I'm not trying to say that guys shouldn't go down in a butterfly. But if pucks are like whizzing over the top of the net from the top of the circles, and you're just automatically dropping into a butterfly without even thinking about where the shot is, it tells me that you're not really engaged. You're not really tracking the puck. You're just, as soon as the puck's released, you're just automatically dropping. And that's a tough spot to be in because it's a tough habit to break. And it's a tracking thing. And everything is tracking. Everything starts with the eyes. So I need to see guys standing up on at least a few shots, at least like in the warm-up phases where shots are whizzing over the net. You just stand up and let it go by you.
Yeah, I really like all your points you said there, especially like the communication part. Like I'm a quieter kid like outside of the game, but like when I'm like in that, like I'm always talking to my D partners and just like everyone on the ice, like because communication is huge, and like you could be like a third defenseman back there with moving the puck as well and just making smart plays and helping the guys get the puck out of the zone and go down and hopefully score a goal. Like that's all super important. It's just like you have to talk, because if you're not, like that's when bad things happen. Pucks end up in your own net.
Yeah. Yeah. Talking is huge. Even just encouraging the guys, right? Nice pass, nice play, things like that. Like they want to hear from you. Like, I mean, not too much. I've definitely had teammates tell me to cram it before, but you know, that's everybody has their own style. I was probably a little bit too boisterous, but I will never discourage a goalie from talking and making his voice heard, because it also helps settle everybody else down when they know that their goalie's in there and he's dialed and he's he's in the rhythm of the play, right?
Yeah, exactly. And just going on a little to tracking here, like what are like some of the good ways that you find to better like track the puck as like pucks are like whizzing over the net, like you said earlier, and just being able just standing up and standing tall and you staying on your edges and just leaning with your head to your hands and just making sure your hands are in front of you and everything like that.
Yeah, we do a lot of tracking work out on ice. One thing that we do is we do colored pucks. So we have guys call out the color as the puck is coming in. The other one that we'll do is we'll hide the pucks at the start. So we'll put like an empty bin in front of the pucks. The pucks are behind it, so you can't really see them, and then you're pulling them out and just shooting them from there. So they're not really able to look off the puck because they don't have a visual attachment to the puck before the puck is released. Like they have to kind of read it like right as they find it as it's before it's released. So there's a little technique there. A lot of these are from Derek. He's a really big tracking guy. And when I came back into the game, around maybe how long ago that was, been a long time for me here, maybe like eight years ago ish. That was when I realized how important tracking was, because I was a terrible tracker when I was playing, and that was a huge reason for my lack of confidence. Because as you get to the junior B level, guys are shooting pucks harder, right? So and it's almost like you can't even see them, like, because you're not tracking them because you haven't been taught to track. So that's one of the things that, like, as soon as guys are like doing good butterflies, like 8, 9, 10, we want to get them tracking the puck, because if you try to learn tracking at the junior level, it's going to become very tough because your eye brain connection is already established more so, right?
Yeah.
The other one that I do with my guys team wise is I say, for the first drill, when it's just like like a team warm-up drill in practice, I want you to stand in the crease. You're not allowed to leave the crease, and you're also not allowed to go down, right? So sometimes I'll mandate you have to stay up. This is not about goals. Every puck could go in. I really don't care. What I want is just for you to like watch the puck into you. So if it's going down beside your glove side pad, like I want you to watch it go into the net. If it's coming for your blocker, just slight blocker move, like right there. Like I want to see your head like moving with every puck. So it's got to be early in their playing career, and then early in the practice, get the eyes working.
Yeah, exactly. And just like that's what I've started. Like I used to be really bad at that, but like as I've been learning and like learning the position even more, like the first like 5-10 minutes, I'll just sit there and like warm ups and just watch pucks like to my glove, into my blocker. Like just don't go down, and like just stay on your edges, because when you're in the game, like it really does help. Like when you're actually like seeing the puck come off the stick blade and like where it's going, like there's a good chance that you're gonna stop it when you see it.
Yep.
And then going on to like screens here a little bit, like screens are like you got to battle for your sight lines when you're getting screens. Like how do you approach like your goalies like going for screens and just trying to fight through guys?
Yeah, I mean, that's another one completely individual to the goalie, because there's some techniques that we teach, and you're going to have some goalies that are just like, you know what, I really don't want to do it that way. I've been doing it this way, and this is what's working for me. So you got to give guys some amount of freedom. But I love tall stances over the screen. Like I want the goalie to look over the screen and keep a really narrow base and be able to see the release, then be really crouched and just like almost like you're surrendering to the screen, where you're like, this guy's in front of me and I can't see anything. So when I sense that there's a shot, or I see the puck handlers, stick move, I'm just going to go down and make a block, right? The most important thing about playing through screens is you have to be able to see the puck. You have to be able to see the release. And if you can't, then do everything you can within reason to be able to make sure that you do. I had this one goalie that he didn't love, and he was a taller guy, so I was a little bit confused by it. He didn't like the be tall and look over, and he was already 6'3". He didn't really have to. He wasn't on his tiptoes. He was just standing there, and I'm like, but he always wanted to be in a stance, right? Always, he was like obsessed with it. He wouldn't stand up, even when the puck is at the blue line. Which, if you're playing junior hockey, and there's a puck at the blue line, you don't need to be in a stance to make that save. You could literally be standing there like a popsicle, and you could make that save because you have enough time,
Yeah.
right? So like I feel like guys put a little bit too much emphasis on being in a stance when they're dealing with traffic. The other thing, try to get close to the screen, right? And don't spend too much effort trying to physically push guys away, because once I see that a goalie on the opposition is really like physically engaging with traffic, then I'll send guys to the I'll tell the coach, get guys in front of the net, regardless of where the puck is, just put somebody in front of him, because now he's going to be spending his energy trying to push you and be a tough guy, because you only have so much energy to expel throughout a game. So if I can get the opposition's goalie to burn his energy trying to push guys away and slash guys, and even if he's chirping at them, it's even better, right? So I try to tell my goalies, like, let the defenseman move people and physically engage with people. You just worry about seeing the puck. That's your job.
Yeah, and just stay calm, cool, and collected while also trying to find that puck and see the shot line, just make that save and not worry about the guys in front, because that should be the defenseman's job.
Yeah.
So going on a little bit here, like obviously it's like nice when you make it to the next level that like you want to be at, but like it's even harder to stay at that level. It's like, what are some things that you've seen that has helped the goaltender stay in the league or get called up to another league rather than getting there and just plateauing?
What you have to remember is that no matter what league you're at, if you're reaching into, like, maybe you made junior A when you're not quite ready, right? And you know it, but somebody got hurt and now you're there. So you're like, okay, things are happening a little fast, but I'm here. Or maybe you wanted to make junior A and now you're back at junior B. Just understand that you are responsible for I want to say like the pace that you play at. You're responsible for the work that you put in. So I always tell my goalies, because junior C is such a weird league where you have this like 20-year-old guy who's already played junior B and now he's back down playing junior C because he's going to school. He's just really hanging out with his buddies trying to play some competitive hockey. And then you have that 16, 17-year-old kid that's hoping that he can use this as a stepping stone to play junior B, A, and beyond, right? So I tell the younger kid, I said, don't look at the older kid as an example for how to practice, because he's not practicing to get to the next level. He's practicing because it's team practice and he has to be here. So you're accountable for your pace, right? So don't let anybody else define for you how hard you want to work. Everybody on the team has a reason to strive to be the best player in the league at their position. So your goal should be to be the best goalie in the league. If that's not your mentality, good luck making it to the next level, right? No matter how old you are. I even tell my goalies that are 20, and I know that they're not going to play junior B next year because they don't have the choice, right? Because you can only be an overage or 21 at junior C. I say, you guys both have different reasons, but you have your own reasons for wanting to be the best goalie in the league. So that's what our collective goal is. I'm here to help you be the best goalie in the league, and I'm here to help you be the best goalie in the league. So that's where we're at now, and we work from there.
Yeah, so like how do you balance that with like the goalie coach and the goalie? Like you both want them to be at the best and like at the top of their level, top of their game. Like how do you like create that balance where like you also leave stuff up to the goalie, but you also want to help the goalie go in the right direction?
Yeah, I leave a lot of it up to the goalie, because at the junior level, a lot of times these guys are coming in and they already have an established goalie coach that they work with outside of the team, and they've been working with for years. Because like once you make junior hockey as a goalie, you know how to play the position,
Yeah.
right? It's just some details. It's getting older, it's getting stronger, it's honing your skills. So I kind of look at my role as the team goalie coach to be less about the physical techniques. It's more about the mental approach and game management. Of course, I'm going to give them like technical advice, but I'm not trying to like rebuild their game, because they already have a goalie coach that's building their game with them. So for me, like I said, a confident goalie is better than a shitty confident goalie is better than a great non-confident goalie. So there's no better way to strip a goalie of his confidence by saying, hey, I don't think your goalie coach is helping you. I don't think your technique's good. So I'm just going to, everything that you're doing, I'm just going to throw it in the trash and we're just going to build you again, even though you're 17, 18 years old. Right. So me, I work within whatever they already have and I add my little pieces here and there. It's very conversation based. As you can see, I'm a talker, I'm a rambler, right? So I'm always communicating with them, having conversations before practice, during, after. So my main thing is I just want to let them know that I'm here to help them. I'm not trying to change their game. I'm just trying to make them better and help them be confident, because that's my role, is to turn them into the most confident goalie they can be so that they can get results. And sometimes they're going to have to fake confidence, right? Like maybe you're feeling off that day. Everybody's got into a game where they feel off. Warm up felt weird. My pads feel weird. My helmet's bothering me. We all know that feeling. I say, if you're not feeling confident, make something up. Look at a save you made last game, right? And get confidence from there. You don't get worse because your pad is feeling weird, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting point, and it's totally true, because like all goalies are not gonna have a great day all the time. Like they're gonna have bad games, and like you just gotta like bring that confidence out of you, especially like when things aren't going right. Like you just gotta like look back, like you said, and just look back at a save, maybe like a save you made during the game so far, and just get that confidence from that. And like it definitely will boost your confidence a little bit, even if it's not really like a big confidence booster, but like you just gotta fake it a little bit. Fake it till you make it.
You know what, man? You gotta, when you're not confident and you're in the middle of a game, you don't really have any other choice. You gotta find a reason, make up a reason to be confident.
Flip that switch.
Yeah. Go, and it's all rooted in your training. The better the training is, the more structures you build into the training, the closer that confidence is, right? The less reaching you have to do, the less making up you have to do, because you're looking at your process and you're checking all the boxes. You're doing all the things that you know in your heart that you need to do to be confident. So just trust that. That is what I mean when I say you got to make up that confidence. You got to look back at your training, at your preparation, and say, I did all those things. I left it all on the table when I was training. So I have every reason to be confident.
Exactly. I love that right there. And just going to training a little bit here, like what are some things that goalies can do off the ice, on the ice, that can increase their game dramatically, and or even just a little bit, that 1% better, and help them reach to that next level?
Yeah, again, something that's different for everybody. Some guys like playing soccer, tennis, baseball, golf, yoga, weightlifting, whatever it is. I would say understand your own body mechanics. So I encourage guys to do yoga, because yoga really highlights your weaknesses in terms of balance and core and all that stuff. I also tell guys to understand like their hip tilt, right? Their SI joint, all that stuff, the pelvic floor. Like a lot of times you don't realize until after your career is done how much goaltending can tear your hip cradle apart, right? So I like to send guys through a little bit of like an off ice. It's almost like a slow mobility warm up, just to get an idea of like, okay, if I'm asking him to do this, like, is it something that does he understand like what a hip tilt is, right? Does he understand like the importance of core strength and balance? If you can get a good hip tilt and a good core strength, like, to me, it has to start there.
Yeah, and like especially like with the hips, like goaltending's a lot of your hips are gonna get sore, and like you just gotta take care of the body, and like you're just recover a little bit, because like you play what, like 50, 60, 70, 80 games depending on where you're at, and just it's a lot on your body. You just gotta really take care of it. So like how important is like taking care of your body, getting that good sleep like you said earlier, and getting good nutrition in you as well?
Oh, it's huge. And I know Jamie Phillips. who
Yeah.
has Victoria Nutrition. So he's kind of the resident nutrition expert in our circles. So he's one of the guys that really kind of helps me figure out, what really is nutrition all about. And I mean, it's so important. Like even with the landscaping kind of stuff that I do, like I'm integrating more and more like food gardens into my work all the time, because eating is so important, man. And being in the United States, like, all the whole thing going on with like factory farms and
Yeah.
GMOs, and they're vegetables, but they're not really healthy, that whole thing. So, eating, you literally are what you eat. Like your body is rebuilding itself based on the fuel that you give it. So if somebody's eating, you know, super healthy, like farm fresh vegetables, and somebody else is eating, McDonald's and Dairy Queen, the writing's on the wall. The other thing is like inflammation that comes with processed foods, processed flours, processed sugars, things like that. Like on inflammation alone, like you're putting yourself behind it by eating that way. So, sometimes I see guys, I can't chirp them too much, because I remember I used to eat hot dogs before games sometimes, because I got a shutout once, and I ate a hot dog before a game. So I just kind of kept it
Got to
rolling.
go back to whatever works, I guess.
That's right. That's right. I mean, in the moment when you're before a game, or you want to go a hot dog, whatever fuel you need in that moment, go for it. But nutrition is more about what you're doing when you're not at the rink.
Yeah, and like everything takes energy. Like being a top athlete, top performing athlete, you need really good energy. Even work and like things you do in everyday life. Like if you don't have that energy, you're not going to be able to do your best work that you can. Like whether it be work, life, hockey, like whatever. Like you gotta have that food source to help you gain that energy and go throughout the day and just be strong.
It's so true. And the other point that I was thinking about is sleep wise. I found that I have so much more energy when I wake up naturally. Like say I'll wake up with the sun at like 6:45. My body just like wakes up, and I'm like, yeah, I could get up. And then I do, and I go for a walk, or I do like my little movement exercises. I feel great. But when I snooze, and instead of getting up at 6:45, I get up at 8 o'clock, 8:30. I'm just so much more sluggish, because my body was like, dude, we were ready to go. We were getting after it. You had the green light, the sun's up, like let's go. But then you go back to sleep, and now you're bringing all of your levels are crashing again, and it's just throwing your system out of whack. And you get up, and it feels like you got a refrigerator on your back all day. So my biggest advice for guys that are trying to be top performing athletes is wake up when your body tells you to wake up, and don't fight it. Don't think that snoozing is going to help you, because it's just going to put you further behind.
Yeah, and just like what we've been talking about, sleep, like nutrition, like Billy's really good with that nutrition aspect of it. And like both those things are probably two of the most important things to help yourself become a better athlete and just better performing overall. So I have a few more things to get through before we wrap things up here. So is there like one thing, what if there's one thing you want your goalies to learn from you, like what would it be and why?
It would go back to having confidence within themselves. Like that is, to me, like that's my role, man.
It's right there.
Yeah, that's my role. Like, yeah, I'm gonna help you, with technical things here and there. Of course, I'm a goalie coach. I can't not. If I see some egregious technical errors, or some flaws, or some bad habits, whether it's hands, eyes, feet, rotations, pivots, whatever it might be, I'm going to bring that up. We're going to address it. But sustained success as a goaltender is all about understanding how to manage confidence from game to game, season to season, and just how to have like that trust in yourself throughout your life, because the person that you are outside the rink will definitely translate onto the ice in one way or another. I know you said that you're a quiet kid outside of the rink, but then when you get to the rink, you're more boisterous, and you're more into it. Everybody is going to have that little discrepancy between like off ice Jack and on ice jack, right? That's natural. Everybody has that. But like my goalies, I want them to understand like that you can only control what you can control, and your confidence is based on what you do and how you prepare and doing the things that you know that you need to do to be successful. And sometimes guys don't really know what those things are that they need to do. So if I can help them with that as well, I'm all for it. Like last year, before the pandemic took us all out, it's not something that I'd done before, but I had two goalies that didn't really have a whole lot of endurance, and I could tell that when the game started, they had all the energy in the world, and they were on it. They were exuding confidence. They were making saves. They were tracking pucks. But by the time the end of the second, beginning of the third came, I could tell that they were tired. I could tell that they were slow. I could tell that they didn't have the confidence that they had before, because their mind was behind the play, because they were physically and mentally exhausted. So what we did is, before practice, we started running up hills. Being in Dundas, there's hills everywhere, and I said to them, we're doing this because like this is my way of showing you that from what I see, your limiting factor for success, which like obviously, as I always say, it's rooted in confidence, is that you don't have the endurance to be confident throughout the game, because by the time the end of the game is rolling around, you guys are both exhausted. So you can't expect to have the same energy at the beginning of the game that you have at the end of the game if you're always exhausted. So we're going to run before practice. I'm asking you guys to run on your own time, or just try to up the endurance in whatever way you can. So it's not directly like goaltending technique related, but it is at the same time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. And like I like the points that you brought up there, especially like what you can control, because you can't control everything that goes on in hockey and life, but like you just gotta focus on like what you can control, like getting like running, like you can control how your endurance is. You just gotta run and just like do some hill sprints and all that. And then like you can't control like the bad bounces that happen in the game. Like you can't control that, and like
Yep.
you just gotta have that balance where you know that you're doing everything you can do to control things, but there's also going to be that time where you can't control anything at all.
You know what? That's exactly it, man. And the other thing that you can't control is if the coach starts you or not.
That is true.
And if the coach isn't starting you, and you're not doing anything to prove to him that you're actively trying to get better, and you're chomping at the bit and you want starts, he's not just going to magically start you. And if he does, it's one every 8 games, because he needs to rest the guy who is becoming the starter, because he's not starting you, right? So that comes back to, everybody has their own reason to strive to be the best goalie in the league. Like if you're 17 and you're not starting a whole lot, everybody around you, teammates, trainers, coaches, me, should be able to see by your actions that you should be starting, right? Like you got to create a situation where everybody's saying, Jesus, like, why is this guy not starting? Like he's working his bag off. He's making saves. He's all over. He's got a great attitude. He's being a great teammate. Why aren't we starting him? But if you just like succumb to I'm not starting, so I'm not gonna try. My warm-ups aren't gonna be, I'm not gonna be as into it. You're now creating a situation for yourself where, yeah, you shouldn't be starting.
Yeah, I really like that, because like not everything's gonna go your way, and like you could, even if you're not starting, like you could learn things from being on the bench and playing the backup role for a little bit. Like there's been times where I've skated with guys that have played in the NHL, and just like you learn so much from them, and like you're obviously not as good as them or at their level, but like you take things in that they do to make the game like super easy or super simple, and just try to like control what you can control, and just enter that into your game and see where it takes you. So it's like there's a big like difference there, I guess you can say, from being a backup and just letting it wreck you, and then being a backup and learning and potentially going for that starting role.
Yeah. Yeah. And being a backup goalie is a mentality, right? Like you're only a backup if you succumb to the backup role. right? Like you can not start 4 games in a row and still have a starter's mentality and be dialed in on the games and be like, encouraging the guys and be opening the door and making sure that your starting goalie, like that you're in his ear, like you're chatting with him, you're boosting him up, you're making him feel like, like he's the man. Like that's really the only way. That's the only way to do it, because like teammates and coaches, everybody on the team, whether they want to admit it or not, they see what's going on. They see how you act. Like if you succumb to being the backup, as in you don't really do the work, you're lazier, you take less effort in the warm up and the practice, like you wrote your own ticket there.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. So like going into like goals a little bit here, like how important are like having like short-term goals for like that season and like long-term goals for over the course of your career?
You know what? I'm not a big goal guy, to be honest with you. I know a lot of guys are. I know a lot of like the personal development guys are, but that's not really my style. I'm more of a day by day kind of guy, and I'm more of a.
Just focus focus what you're doing right at that moment.
That's right, man. Every day I have what's called, it's such a cheesy name, but it's called the power list, and I have 5 critical tasks that I need to do every day, and sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 8. It's always at least 5. And for me, I wake up, I write the list, I get the things done. Like you write the list, you do the list.
Yeah.
Repeat like every day. And like that's what gets you to that goal, right? And there's also like the psychological part of it that say like once you write down a goal, your brain almost has a way of like convincing itself that you've already done it. Like I wrote down this goal and you feel so accomplished. Wow, what a great thing I've done. I've acknowledged that I have this goal. But then your brain can take that to be like, oh, well, I've already done that. I felt the achievement. I wrote down the goal. Great job. But then you don't do the steps that get you to the goal. So for me, I don't focus on the goal. I focus on the steps. Like, of course, I want to be, if I'm a goalie, I want to be the best goalie I can be. But to me, I'm not going to put that into I have to have a 910 save percentage.
Yeah.
Because it seems like if I have a 908 save percentage, I didn't meet the goal. What your goal is not a save percentage or a goals against average. Your goal is getting better. It's a feeling. It's a confidence. It's being a good teammate. It's all of those things.
Yeah, I get that for sure. And just like you just want to be in the present, like right then and there, and like when you accomplish that thing that you have for the day, like it's like it's a great feeling, and like you're getting stuff done no matter what time of the day it is.
Yeah, you know what? It reminds me of my first year in Dundas. I had an overage goalie. He was 21, and he was on the team for probably, that was his 3rd year. He had played junior B before. He was a good goalie. He's the kind of guy that he kind of stopped working on his technique a few years ago, if you know what I mean. So he was just playing.
Yeah.
But his mentality was incredible. He was just rock solid upstairs. And we played a game once, and I think we won like 6-5 or something. It was like a shootout game, and he maybe had like 20 shots. We let in 5 goals. But all the goals that he let in, like they were power play goals, they were screens, they were tips, like they all earned, like they earned good goals on him. We just happened to score more. So after the game, I caught him as he was coming off the bus, and I said, you know what, man, like don't even worry about the stats. Like the save percentage took a bit of a hit tonight, the goals against average took a bit of a hit tonight, but like you still won the game, you got the win, that's what matters. And our team got better after this game. And he said, man, I don't look at stats, like I don't care about that shit. Like what difference does it make? We won the game. And I said, man, I wish every goalie had that. I had that mentality, because it's so true. Like if I said to you, Jack, this game here, you could either have a 930 save percentage or you could get the win. Which one do you take?
The win.
100% of the time. So 100%. Like that is what you're after there, is wins. All right. Andre Vasilevsky, who is like the best goalie in the world right now, arguably back-to-back Stanley Cup champion. I remember somebody asked him about his like subpar save percentage because he's on the Lightning and doesn't get many shots because the Lightning are incredible. And he said something like, man, all I care about is wins. Like that's why I'm here.
At that level, that's all you can care about, is getting the wins and helping your team get to that win.
That's right.
doesn't matter how many saves you made or what your save percentage goal against is. It's just, did you win? Like, no one's gonna
Yeah.
ask, well, what was your save percentage?
Yeah, that's right. And the other thing to remember is like win or lose, if you play, you gain more experience, and more experience is what makes you better. So even if you lost, you still got better. Like you did all this training, you put on the skates, you played the game. Okay, let's say you let in 3 bad goals. That doesn't make you a worse goalie. You didn't just get worse,
Yeah.
right? You just learned something. Now you have more experience to add to the experience bank that's going to help make you better.
Yeah,
So
and every loss that I take, like I'm like it's just a learning experience. Like you just got to learn from what you did during that game and just take it and like take the experience that you gained from this game and put it into the next game.
that's right.
So I have a few more questions for you before we end things here. So what's it like being a goalie coach with BUJAN Goaltending and skating with some very good goaltenders?
It's great. I mean, can't say much more about it than that. I mean, it's great. I love working with Derek. He's a really, really knowledgeable goalie coach. Terrible goalie, but good goalie coach. Um, him and I have very similar mentalities about the position. We have very similar mentality about the technique. We have very similar coaching styles. Of course, we also differ in a lot of things, but we're able to discuss our differences in a way that's constructive, right?
Yeah.
When Derek took over on ice, he implemented like coaching teaching sessions. So there's no like students there. We just have 12 or 15 or however many coaches there are at on ice. We all kind of get together and like discuss the game. Somebody will put on a workshop, we'll discuss drills, we'll discuss techniques, so that everybody that is like on the goalie coaching team is roughly singing the same song. Because you can't have a goalie come in and today he's working with this guy and he's telling him to do something, and then the next day he's working with me and I'm telling him to do something completely different, and I'm almost like bashing the goalie coach that he had before, but the goalie coach he had before is on our team, so it just doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Right? So Derek's very good at creating like a culture and a mentality. I have to give him that. He's very good at that. And you know how big culture is in hockey, man. It's everything. Like, especially team wise. Like if your team has a bad culture and you guys don't have like your mindsets right as a group, it's really, really tough to be successful.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, and like agree with you there, and just everything with from like chemistry and how it is in the room, like, and just everything like that. Like it's a huge part in the game, and that's all that is to it. Like if you don't have good chemistry within the room, like things are gonna turn to shit, and you're just gonna wish that there's good chemistry.
That's right.
So my next question is, what's been like your favorite moment as a goalie coach so far in your goalie coach career?
My favorite moment was when the goalie on our team won Player of the Month in the first month of the season. He came to us like just a dejected soul. He was slotted to play junior B. He played junior B the year before, was like down to the wire. And old story, somebody gets cut from the OHL and now he gets cut and he doesn't know what to do. And he had buddies on our team. So he's fired a text off to his buddy. Next thing you know, he's at our skate, and he was at the last skate. Literally, like, we're picking the team today and he just shows up. But obviously, like, he was known in the area as being like a good goalie. So we're not going to be like, no thanks. Like,
Yeah,
you got to invite him into camp, right? And he was just the most lethargic, like no energy slug I'd ever seen. And it was between the practice. What we did was you had 40 minutes of practice. Then they flooded the ice, and then we had 40 minutes of scrimmage. So in that break there, I brought him out of the room and I said, what are you doing here? And he says, well, I just got cut from junior B, so that's why I'm here. I said, no, I don't like that. I'm asking you. I'm asking you, like, do you want to play on this team? Like, do you want to be here? Do you want to play hockey? Like, do you want to improve as a goalie or as a person, or are you just here because you're in hockey mode and this just seemed like something that you should be doing. He
Yeah.
said, well, no, I want to be here. And I told him, well, then you have to show me that, because you're asking me to cut these guys that have been here for months, working their bags off, showing me that they want to be here. And you're asking me to cut them for you when you just show up and skate around like you don't even care. I said, I'm not doing that. So either you like show me that you want to be here and you actually play, or like we're not taking you. So he turned it around in a hurry. The scrimmage, I don't think he got scored on. And the coach ended up signing him. And then the first couple practices, he was lights out. In the preseason, he was incredible, and he carried it all the way into the season. And he was the best goalie in the league. But I feel like I feel pride there, because I feel like I really helped him like understand that, like, dude, I'm here to help you. I'm here to like help you be the best goalie you can be. And I just like that's kind of where I get, confidence is everything from, because we had a goalie that was a really, really good goalie when he was confident, but when he wasn't, he was almost like non-existent. Like he was just getting burned left, right, and center. So he won goaltender or player of the month in the league, like the first month. And then from there, he just had a great year, and we had a great year as a team. So I was really proud of that.
Yeah, that's awesome, especially like how it started and like how he wasn't really into it, and then you had that talk with him, and he was lights out ever since, and like actually like acted like he wanted to be there, wanted to play, wanted to win games. Like that's all it's about. That's what it's all about, is just wanting to be there and wanting to help the team win games no matter what, and just be there and support the boys.
Absolutely.
So then my last question for you, I have to end it on this. So can hard work be learned, or is it simply something that just comes naturally?
No, it can be learned. And you learn it by doing the things that you don't want to do. Like that's one of the things that kept me where I was, is I never learned how to work hard in regards to things that I didn't want to do. I was really good at working hard when I was at my goalie coach or when I was at practice, but
Yeah.
when I was doing my off ice stuff, I just half-assed it so much, because in my mind I didn't want to be there. So that was my excuse for like not really trying, right? But every time you do something that you don't want to do, but you know that you need to do to get better, that helps build hard work. It helps build trust in yourself that, yeah, you know what, I can work hard. And it's not always about how I feel, it's about what I want. I know I want to be better, so I got to put in the work. So for anybody that says that you can't learn how to work hard, they're not trying hard enough.
Yeah, I really like what you said there. It's very well put, because it's nothing but the truth there, and like everything you said, and you can't top that. So Michael, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time and the knowledge of the mind of goaltending, and for talking to me about how to make it to the next level and all the knowledge that you shared today. And this has been a lot of fun. I'm glad that we were able to get this going.
Yeah, buddy, you got it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem.